me, you already know that. This is the May edition of the 1-on-1 with the Supervillain series. We are hitting the summer months, blockbuster season, and all the crazy shit that comes along with it. Because this summer is about to be bananas. But I get to talk because I know what we're probably going to talk about with a couple things. I don't have an idea. I got a few things in mind, but some other things will pop up, of course. The managing editor of the Entertainment here, Mr. Chris Lee. What up, Chris?
I'm doing well. I'm happy that Guardians 3 held the audience pretty well. So that was good. Coming off the first week to second week. Didn't drop as much.
But I knew it wasn't.
No, but you just don't know with the second week drop with some of the Marvel.
I kind of figured the drop for this wasn't going to be that much because of everybody starting to talk about and definitely not spoiling anything. Everybody being like, you have to see this. It's one thing when the TV spots promote it a certain way and be like, it's the best movie, blah, 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 blah. But it's another when it's literally people going, oh my God, I just saw this movie. You need to see this movie. And so people, are going around like that. So I figured the drop off wasn't going to be massive. And granted, this weekend was Mother's Day, and you have some people who took mom to see it.
Yeah, this one's a little darker though than Guardians 2, which I liked a lot more, obviously. But
you like 2 more?
I like 3 the most.
Oh, I would say I don't know.
Even over Guardians 1.
3. I love 3. There's
Guardians
no doubt.
2, I didn't like very much.
2 for me is it's way too much exposition.
Much exposition, and everybody has the same humor. It doesn't feel like it's tied into the character as much as this one felt very much character centric. And for every joke or comedic beat, it was followed up with just straight up horror, or really good emotion. So
I love
balanced.
One of the biggest things I loved is Gunn played with your emotions perfectly.
Yeah,
me and my buddy Jason Cade, we were just working out, and him and I had the best analogy for it. And I just put it on Twitter. There were so many false finishes, you didn't know what was happening. Everybody was kicking out at 2.99. You're like, oh shit!
It was John Cena, AJ Styles.
It was Roman Reigns Roman Reigns in every big match that you like he might lose. You know how Roman kicks out at 2.9999, like he's become the king of that. And so I saw something that I'm glad you brought up because you didn't really care much for Adam Warlock though.
I didn't as much.
Why not?
For me, it kind of rang on the similar stupid scale of like Drax, but without the emotional payoff. I like the initial introduction to get him in there and to set off the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like every time he came in, I kind of wanted another character in there.
Why though? I mean, I think for me,
other than when he deep fried the dude in the interrogation, that was
man, he murdered the shit out of dude. I was like, oh God.
That was my favorite thing that he did. But I think there's room to grow in that. That was just one of the things that wasn't as strong as the other stuff. For me, in a movie that I gave a 9 out of 10 to.
Well, I got you. But for me, he was like, because Gunn did a perfect way of explaining why he is the way he is. When Aisha said, you took him out too early.
Right.
So he isn't fully ready to be extremely perfect as he should be.
Yeah. I think the only other issue I had is I thought some of the endings, I love the third act as a whole overall, but the way they split the team off, I didn't love some of it. I think they could have done a stronger job throughout the series of setting up where Star-Lord was going to go. And that thing of wanting to go back and see his grandfather, it was in there, but I could have used that a little bit more.
For me, I think it was. Now I hear you. I think where we bump heads on this one is, I like it when you didn't know. You didn't know because it was like, yeah, I miss my grandfather, yes, but I've been gone from Earth. So it make it seem like initially he can just be like, no, I'm all about this space. There's more. I've learned there's more than just Earth. And so it left it open at first. It was like, does he want to go back? Or if he goes back, because a lot of people were expecting the whole fairy tale ending of him taking Gamora, right?
Yeah, I love Gamora in this.
Gamora she was amazing.
Fantastic. That was the best.
When she kept being like, yo, bro, I'm not this chick you fell in love with. I don't know who you think.
And then at the end, he accepts that. I felt like that was him kind of accepting that, like letting her go. There's no speech. Hey, and then her just being like, we were fun. Felt like that was capping that off. Like,
because everybody thought it was going to be, she was going to remember she falls in love with him and then they're back together. And it's like, that's too obvious.
Yeah. But I love Iwuji was just phenomenal as a villain.
Top 10 Marvel villain.
Dude. So I know a lot of people are doing the whole who are they going to bring from Guardians over to Superman? Because James Gunn said that there's at least somebody that's going to be cast in there. Iwuji would be a great Lex. Different age.
Yeah, but look, whatever he has him do at this point now, it doesn't matter what Gunn has him, because between Peacemaker and this, I trust Gunn to put him wherever.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like everybody, it's cool that for us to fan cast him into certain roles, but I'm at a point with him where I'm like, you can put him wherever, and I would not be mad.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody expected. First of all, very few people, again, as with the Guardians, unless you're a comic book fan, you do not really know who the High Evolutionary is, right? And so very few people expect the High Evolutionary to have this level of gravitas to him.
Right.
And for him, the line of "there is no God, that's why I stepped in" was like, oh shit.
And then him palming Baby Rocket's head, saying you're just a thing to mold into like a clay.
When the very beginning, when you see the fear in Baby Rocket's face, when he's getting choked like that, that was one of the biggest things I love, because it set the tone to let you know James already told everybody this is Rocket's story.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't remember in one, when he said, I didn't ask him to do this to me, so he was like, it's gonna get real, and like shit.
But I also think I don't think enough praise is going for Chris Pratt. I thought this is the best he's ever been as Star-Lord as well. Mm-hmm. Like, I really like the sense of desperation, because that was a different suit to put on him. Because like everybody abandons him, right? And so when he gets the chance to save someone, he doesn't run from that.
Right.
Kind of thing. With Rocket, like he can save this guy. Like everyone else, he was forced to leave Earth. He didn't want to. All these other things that he couldn't stop. Gamora dying, all those things. And now he could. So I thought that was really great to see.
I feel like he needed redemption for fucking Infinity War. There's nothing. I don't give a shit about what he did in Thor Love and Thunder. He needed vindication from the bullshit. Because remember, technically it's his fault. Okay.
Yeah. I still think you can understand where he's coming from with that, but I didn't hate that Infinity War either. Someone had to do something to throw it out of whack.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And if it was going to be someone, it was going to be Star-Lord. I mean, because Tony already did that in Ultron, so that wouldn't make sense. You could have had Strange screw up somehow, but that.
Nah, I think it'd have been too. I think you can't, because
it was Star-Lord was the only one.
He was the only one that could fuck up.
Yeah,
off emotion. He had to, because Strange can see everything, but he can't act on it the way he needs to. Right.
Peter Parker's too inexperienced. He's going to do everything that Tony tells him to do.
Right. Tony is going to think with logic. Tony is going to use logic in a sense, even though he'll have emotion, but he's like, yo, this is logic. Star-Lord is just pure emotion.
Yeah. It had to be one of the Guardians. And then when it comes down to that, it's like, well, Drax is too comedic to really.
Yeah, he's too comedic.
That would have been weird.
So. And he got his ass turned into silly string.
Mm-hmm.
Also the Nebula, Karen Gillan.
Oh, Nebula is phenomenal.
She's fucking.
I want is Lois Lane, by the way, but that's a different thing. But, like, if they were gonna bring someone to I want Karen Gillan as Lois Lane. Like, I think that would be.
I'd even take her as Karen Page. I know we're talking James Gunn to bring over, but I would take her as Karen Page in Daredevil.
Absolutely. Yeah, she'd be great.
Dude,
the one I really want, I want Michael Rooker to be Perry White.
Yeah.
That used to be perfect. That's
he's perfect as Perry. Don't have him, because people say, well, Rooker has to be Luther. No. Make Rooker Perry White. And it's perfect.
Perfect.
Me and my buddy were talking about the best, though. I think one of the biggest parts that made, because again, it was so heavy of a movie. Because look, we're teasing Rocket's death through this whole fucking thing, right? Yeah. And you get Lila and Teeth and Flora's death. But the best part is the Kraglin Cosmo dynamic. The whole thing.
That was crazy. Tell me,
hey, look, just say I'm not a bad dog. No, I'm not taking it back.
I could have used more of them as well. Like, I thought some of that seemed weird. Like, hey, you guys got to stay and babysit the world. I'm like, you couldn't have even lesser characters do that? Like,
well, no, because you got to remember, they set it up, though, where Kraglin still doesn't know how to use the fucking fin.
I know. I just really like those characters. And specifically Cosmo, because you barely introduced that character at all. Like, I'd like her to be more of a figure in the movie.
But I mean, think about this. To an extent, if I can say it this way, when it seems like they don't play major parts because they're just staying at nowhere, when they are needed, they show up and show out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, Cosmo's telepathy and telekinesis holds the fucking ship to the planet.
Yeah.
Kraglin learns to control the shit out that arrow.
I love everything they did. I just wish I'd seen more of them. I do like, though, that there were less characters than Guardians 2. There were so many characters that got so much screen time. Like, compared to Guardians 3. Guardians 3 felt a lot more streamlined, a lot more focused.
Well, that's because 2 still had to play with the universe.
Yeah.
3 didn't have to. That was the biggest thing about IGN's reviews say it the best. 3 is a James Gunn movie first, then an MCU movie second. And technically, besides,
I don't even think it's an MCU movie.
It's not an MCU.
Strange as Eternals, really,
because it's literally its own self-contained thing.
Yeah,
I was like, this is James Gunn. I don't know if somebody. I said, this is James Gunn unhinged. They let him say, do what you want. And I think the thing is, when you have directors like that who you know and trust, and you tell them, do what you. Also, it's a closeout, so it's kind of different. But do what you do, you get perfection of a movie.
Yeah,
for all intents and purposes. Like I said, I never would have fucking thought the first F-bomb would have dropped in Guardians, and it dropped perfectly.
So, honestly, that probably would have been my guess. It was probably going to come in either in a James Gunn or Taika Waititi thing.
Yeah,
although he doesn't use a lot of cursing in really anything. That's not really his humor. Gunn, it's very much his humor.
But the way he did it, because it was something you would normally say. Just open the fucking door. Like, it's something we would naturally say. It isn't one of those things where somebody said you like, are you fucking serious? Like, you know how somebody says something and it's just like forced? But this was just like, just open the fucking door. You're like, oh, he's right. Because he like, yo, bitch, we got to go. Like, we got to go do this to save Rocket. Like, let's go.
Right. And you don't think we'll see Star-Lord again until the Avengers, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Avengers films?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We don't see him again till Kang Dynasty, till Secret Wars probably. Or unless they do something small unless he's needed, because Kang Dynasty, you cannot quickly bring those Guardians back together, right?
Who knows what's going on with Kang Dynasty at this point?
It's still gonna happen.
It still will, but if they have to recast or move off, or move it back because of the writer's strike.
You got to remember, they're just gonna recast.
Yeah. Well, also the writer's strike as well.
Oh, I mean, the thing is,
on for,
because the thing
I
is,
still think it'll probably be September at this point, at the earliest.
So this is what I've heard. It might be the reason everything is still going is only because of one studio. Netflix. Netflix is the main one keeping everything going.
Yeah.
And so,
well, and Amazon. Amazon's doing the Lord of the Rings show. HBO is still going forward with the game with House of the Dragon without
House of the Dragon, yeah.
So a lot of them are trying to do that without having writers on set. Which, if you looked at 2007 when the writer's strike happened, and specifically Quantum of Solace, that did not go well. That was a bad idea.
That was a writer's strike during it when they wrote Quantum of Solace?
Yep. And they didn't have writers on set, so they were writing the film as they were shooting it, which is why that movie came out wild. And a lot of seasons of TV, you look at that were filmed.
I remember that's the season of Lost and Heroes.
Like Friday Night Lights.
Too. And Friday Night Lights caught it too, yep.
The murderous Landry. But yeah, it's gonna be wild to see because I think it's gonna go on a while. Because the one thing is they'll give them money. The studios will give money. They don't want to give up control. So like the AI stuff.
Oh,
they're not gonna back off of that.
We're already we without even our vote, like without our vote officially being cast, we've already said it. We striking. SAG has already said we are.
Yeah, SAG is, and then we'll see what the directors do because the directors.
So here's the thing I've been telling people. So you just brought up the biggest thing. It's the AI. The AI component is the biggest. Next to money and residuals, it's the AI component, right?
Yeah.
You need two of three people to speak out because the directors go to the table. You need 2 of 3 just to really speak out, and I guarantee you it'll change everything. You know who those 2 or 3 are? Spielberg, Scorsese, and Coppola. Because why? They are about the art of movies, and that shit ain't art to them. That shit ain't art to them. They will fight that shit tooth and nail.
Right.
And you are not going to say, yeah, they're nearing their ends, but because they are considered the greatest directors in history. And even still, you got what's the fucking is that who's that big movie Megapolis, whatever it's called?
Yeah, it's like Megalopolis.
Yeah, whose movie is that one?
Shia LaBeouf's comeback.
Whose movie is that? That's
Coppola.
That's Coppola's, right? Yeah. So you got them doing these.
He's financing that thing mostly himself.
What'd you say?
He's financing that.
Okay, yeah, no, Coppola financed himself. He was like, "Yo, I'm doing this for me."
It's crazy.
But again, that tells you, I'm about this art. I'm about this cinema. I'm about cinema. What it is. It is about actors on screen. It is about the words on the paper. It is about those 2 things. And you are trying to take away those 2 things to make something else because you want to be cheap.
Yeah.
Because AI, people who are on Twitter and shit like that, who keep talking about AI are like the people who are anti the strike are like, well, what's the big deal? Motherfucker, AI don't write original thoughts.
It doesn't. Not in its current form, but it's also that thing of I'm in agreement. There's a lot going on with this thing that just sucks.
Yeah, it doesn't write. It just pulls what exists on the internet.
Right now, AI is used as a tool still based on human
based on human work.
So I do writing and content and editing and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I put it in there, I have to tell it, for example, hey, interpret this content as if it is AP style or something like that. I still have to give it information that comes from a human mindset of looking.
Yep.
It's not 100% artificial, and it doesn't work if you're trying to get anything emotional out of it. It's a starting point. Like if I want to come up with a prompt or give a reporter like ideas to follow up with, it's decent for that. It's a decent idea generator at this point.
I mean, you can do it, because you can make the skeleton. That's the thing. You can make the skeleton of a show.
Mm-hmm.
You can get the break. You can give me a breakdown for a show that this is the log line, this is the synopsis, these are the characters. When you feed it that information, it'll break shit down, and then boom. But the problem is, AI cannot write human emotion.
No.
And that's where a lot of people's favorite shows, Because like again, I see people talking some, oh, these writers are just being greedy. Motherfucker, writers don't make money like that.
No. Well, that's what all the Amazon people were like. We don't make these residuals that they're saying. Look, here's my check. I actually made it.
That's why I was like, for me, I told everybody, I've been open about mine. Out of 3 out of 8 episodes of American Gigolo, my fucking residual check was $61. So you are damn right. I'm all about striking here, because here's the problem: 3 out of 8 episodes of a TV show that started on cable, that wasn't a streaming-based show, right?
Right.
I got more of my residuals from Dog than I did from fucking American Gigolo.
Right.
My residuals on Dog, and they cut my scene down, even all the shit I did. But I still get more off Dog than I do American Gigolo. You can't tell me, I'm telling people, you can't tell me this is not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Residuals are how people live. It's a paycheck. Then I hate people, well, people got to get a regular job. Okay, fine. Tell people they got to get a regular job. Fine. But guess what? Now you won't have no shows or movies you like. So then what?
Also, directors, actors, and writers all usually work a normal job in addition to what they're doing anyways.
Because again, people don't think, unless you are one of the top tier major fucking writers, major directors, major actors, you are doing other shit.
Unless you're Sorkin or someone like that, you're just not.
Who turns out to be an asshole just as fucking much as fucking Todd Phillips, but I'm not surprised.
But again, I think from their Sorkin's is just a weird, like how he got in to writing that film is not how most writers go. Like it just isn't how it works for most people. I think Phillips is probably something similar. But
I just saw the whole thing about them not liking unions. That was the biggest thing.
That was 2010 though. They were talking about that writer strike and how they didn't love the union setup or whatever. And there are some people that from writers that why do we need a union? Why can't we just negotiate directly with the studio or whoever for our deals? Why do we need a union to pay fees to represent us? So I could see that being something that could come out of that, because I feel like that's kind of what, like, when Seth Rogen speaks up, that's more of what he's talking about, is getting the big money out of it.
Well, because here's the problem, but Rogan has he has a good point, because he's like, they're not sharing the numbers, so I'm assuming we're making way more. Again, Netflix makes $1 billion a month.
Mm-hmm.
A month, not a year, a month.
Right.
You're making at minimum $12 billion a year. Mm-hmm. Then you just started up this ad tier service, and you're telling people there is not enough money to pay out in residuals.
Yeah,
because you're trying to keep using the bullshit of this is still new. It's not, bro. They already showed you what shit is, because they showed you what shit is because of fucking COVID, when people were locked down.
Yep.
When people were locked down, you realize, oh, streaming is the thing. People aren't going back to basic fucking cable because you've pushed the needle too far.
Right.
You pushed the needle too far, where it's like even everything you put on basic fucking cable ends up on a streaming platform anyway.
Yeah, or vice versa. Because like, didn't they do Titans on HBO Max, and now every once in a while I see a Titans episode on TNT?
Yes,
on TNT.
Yes, but that's because it's all Warner and all that shit. So it's all at one company, so you can do that. Because Arrow was on TNT for the longest. Like, it would come on late at night.
Oh, did you see the Arrow Flash?
Yes, I did.
So, great episode. So, Oliver just went ahead and made new worlds again after Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Well, because the thing was, everybody asked that question, though, because they showed you different worlds at the end of Crisis.
Right. I was like...
So, it was finally... Well, but the thing is, though, I'm glad it was finally explained.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, hey, hold fast. There's an Earth Prime. Bro, is there a multiverse or what? And he was like, yes, I had to read. He was like, he didn't try to. He was like, it just happens. Like, basically, nature needs a multiverse.
Mm-hmm. That was easily the best Arrowverse thing in like years.
Dude,
the whole thing.
The whole way it was done. because to see him, the thing with him and Diggle, and when Diggle was like, bro, I'm sorry I couldn't be there. He was like, you were with my family. That's what I needed my brother to be.
Although I still hate the Green Lantern stuff. Whatever. Like the way, like, good on you for getting rid of the ring. I'm like, what?
Well, he could have. Yeah, well, that was how they had to write it off because they had to write it off.
Because of Superman. Because of what Diggle did in the Superman.
Well, also it was more so, I get that, but it was also CW wasn't going to let them go forward because the HBO show and the HBO Max thing were two things already in works for Green Lantern. So they couldn't. So when they wrote it, was like, hey, this is what it could be at the end of Crisis. They had to sit there. They were like, yo, we can open, because Guggenheim and Berlanti was like, well, what's the possibility of it? Right. And then that fucking the HBO Max show, and then the fucking movie comes up, and now it's like, well, shit, we can't do it. So what do? We have to figure out how to, we have this open-ended fucking thing. We have to close it off.
Yeah. But that was awesome. It definitely makes me
miss the Arrowverse.
Yes. Well, also, I wish, even if it wasn't Gunn, somebody had just gone and say, you know what, these universes are connected. We're not doing this whole, like, if you're on a TV show, you're part of the DC, we could just bring you into a movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, but the thing is, CW. So one of my homegirls, she's a writer. I saw her on Twitter. She posted it, I think, yesterday. She used to write on Black Lightning, and she was like, the CW at one point was the network for superhero shows.
Yep.
And now it only has
Vampire Diaries.
And Vampire Diaries. It was superhero shows and Vampire Diaries, and now it only has one. It only has one.
Yep, and that one's going well. I think Superman will move to HBO Max.
He's gonna move. Too many people are loving this season, what they've done. So they're not gonna let it go. This one is gonna stay because they're like, yo, this one is too popular to just kill. Like, it was easy to get rid of Supergirl, even though it got better, right?
Yeah.
Grant don't want to, and I'm not mad at Grant. Grant don't want to live 6 months in Vancouver no more.
And I think you can just kind of tell the writing's not at the challenge isn't there anymore. The quality just isn't at the level that it was.
You know, the biggest thing I think was,
except for when they dip back in and they look at the history and they tie it back in. It's like when they bring in Oliver Queen, they tied it back to the pilot of The Flash and did such a good job of doing that. But when you look at the other episodes, even in this season, it's just like the depth just isn't there at that level of even that episode.
Well, because they started doing the formula that Young Justice does. Young Justice does a 3-4 episode arc. So then they started running those in the Flash, because the problem was when you give them 22, 23 episodes, the whole thing is, well, we just got to get to this big bad, right? But we got 22 fucking episodes,
right?
And that's a lot of filler.
Yeah.
And so that becomes, your quality of writing absolutely goes down. Excuse me.
Also, I think, too, when you start losing cast members and those kind of things, and there's only two of you really left, or I guess three. Panabaca's still around, but.
And the two don't get along.
Right. Which, again, though, Stephen Amell and Katie Cassidy didn't get along.
That's because they used to fuck.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
They used to fuck, and he was fucking everybody. Mr. I'm wholesome on Instagram. I love my wife. My family's everything. Was fucking everybody. But that's I don't know. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people are like, yo, is he fucking in for real? Like, oh, he's fucking everybody. But so that's the thing that it was with that. The thing was with the Flash, Grant didn't want to speak out on behalf of Candace when she kept catching all that these racist trolls. He didn't want to start saying shit till after 2020, till the Black Lives Matter shit. And he reached out to one of the homies, was like, what can I do to do more? I feel bad. Like, of course you feel bad now. Bro, you had to.
Well, at least he didn't just tweet #Black Lives Matter.
Or do an Imagine video. Or do an Imagine video.
Yeah. Or Because when that whole thing happened, the worst thing was every white person in the world just treating hashtag Black Lives Matter with nothing to back it up, and then it
And
just
knowing good and goddamn well
everyone
you didn't mean it.
Yep. Yep.
No, good and goddamn well you didn't mean it at all. Like you just needed to do it to seem like you cared.
Right.
Because I got to get ready to do a self-tape after I got a Zoom audition after this, but I got about another 10 minutes. What are your thoughts on everything with the draft picks and how they're doing? And hey, here you go. You can have this title.
Yeah, I don't love that. I do like that it's Seth. I think clearly what they're doing, though, they're setting up like the Roman title to be the bloodline feud thing.
Oh, that's
going to be the different bloodline members taking them on at different times.
I'm gonna tell you the story.
Really awesome. And Night of Champions is Solo turns on Roman.
It probably will happen. It's more likely
that's what I would do.
Because here's the thing, he's already said for the summer. So, and this is what I know, it's Cody Roman 2 at Mania next year. Okay, right. That's for sure. Cody leading up to for the summer. I mean, not Cody, for Roman for the summer. All Roman wants to do is work the bloodline,
which is great.
So it's keeps it contained. I know everybody. I ain't got to deal with all no extra bullshit. It's just me, the twins, Solo, boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
Then you get to, that's the summer, get you the Survivor Series, right? Figure out, I doubt you do War Games again.
No, I don't think you need to. And I don't think I would do that with Bloodline.
No.
I would maybe do a women's one.
Or what you just do is now you go back to doing what you did that 1 year, because now you can have Seth versus Roman, title versus title.
Yeah, you could do that. You could also warm some of the other SmackDown guys because they do have AJ. They do have guys over there.
No, that's fair.
Warm some of them up.
Remember, we're talking Survivor Series where if you're not going to do traditionals, and you're not going to do War Games, go back to brand versus brand.
Yeah. I think you have to do the either traditional Survivor Series or War Games. I just don't think the brand stuff's really that interesting to me. I mean, I get splitting them off in terms of doing the show, but I don't like the where you do pay-per-views to put them together and face them and act like it's a once in a lifetime thing when we know it's going to happen again at WrestleMania.
Right?
If they need to, they'll circumvent that again.
Well, I think here's my thing: if you do traditional has to be traditional. It cannot be 5 Raw, 5 SmackDown. It need to be a 10-man, 5 from all 10 came from Raw. A 10-man, all 10 came from Smack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do that level of traditional, I'm fine with, because then you really are putting potential combustible elements together like back in the day.
Yeah. You could do that. I really think, although I love the design of the new belt. That belt looks
awesome. I don't have a problem with it. One of my homies, he said he don't like it, and then I found out why he don't like it, because he never liked Big Gold. So I was like, of course you're not gonna like him.
Yeah,
it's Big Gold.
Which is what Edge talked about. That's the lineage. It's the world heavyweight title that he lost. Essentially, it's that design that he lost, which is why he was trying to win, but then lost. Which is fine.
And again, I'm fine. We know it's a Seth title, which is cool, because now you have, because what you can do, because this is how it works, and I think a lot of us forgetting seeing this. Gunther can drop that Intercontinental title to a bunch of new people now, right? Yeah. There's a whole array of people he can end up dropping that title to. Gunther can take that title easily. Yeah. Gunther can take that title easily because Cody will never touch that World Heavyweight Championship.
You don't want it.
You don't want him touching that. Your whole purpose with Cody is you take the undisputed.
And you don't want to do Seth and Cody again because they're both baby faces.
And also, you don't need fucking Cody beating Seth again.
Yeah. Though I think what you could do, I really think they need to push Damian Priest. At this point,
but what is he?
Seth wins. I think that's
okay.
Yeah, if Seth wins, I think that's a good Raw. That's a good Raw feud.
Here's my question for you, though.
Yep.
You push Damian Priest towards it. I'm totally fine with that, right? Do you eventually do a point where it splinters off Judgment Day because now Finn gets jealous?
I think you can do that. I think also, Finn could go for the other title.
Okay, I'm fine with Finn being Intercontinental. Do we need to have? I think it would be nice to have it because we haven't had it in a minute. Well, we did have it because we didn't really have it to have a faction have all the belts.
Well, the Bloodline had.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't have the inner.
They never had the Intercontinental.
That would be cool, but that would be tough because there's not enough in the Bloodline for a tag team and an Intercontinental.
You mean Judgment Day? You mean Judgment Day?
Judgment Day. Yeah.
Yeah, because Bloodline could have had Solo have the Intercontinental. If you wanted to,
you'd have enough. You still had Edge in it. If Edge was still a part of the group, you'd have enough.
It'd be perfect.
Yeah.
And Edge ain't going back to no motherfucking Edge out here working his light schedule.
I mean, yeah, but did you see him do the Big E spear for the ropes on SmackDown?
And almost kill himself?
Yeah, don't do that.
And almost kill himself?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody was like, oh, the fuck are you doing?
Did you see the Bob Orton stuff for the weekend? So Bob Orton said that the doctors told Randy Orton that he shouldn't wrestle anymore. But at the same time, Bob Orton also said, well, he is training, so Randy's going to do what he wants to do. But that's what Bob Orton said.
Randy got one more run out of him. Randy going to give you one more good run.
Well, because I guess his back is, whatever surgery he had, they don't want him to undo that.
Which means, in other words, them Orton bumps are going to come like rock bumps, baby. It's going to be on the side. Oh!
Well, remember when who was it? Oh, Bryan Danielson was also like taking bumps different so he didn't hit his head.
Yeah.
But that only lasted in WWE. He's got back to taking bumps the regular way on AEW.
Because now he has a whole new feeling of everything. He has a whole new feeling of wrestling. He's not sports entertaining anymore.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But look, I hate to cut this short. I got to get ready to get on for this fucking self-tape.
No, you're good.
Tell the people, my man, I love talking with you because by the time we talk again, we'll be Spider-Verse in. We'll probably talk before the Flash.
Yeah.
We'll probably talk before Flash. And then what else is big in June?
Well, you have Indiana Jones coming out, but that's
not that's not a thing for me.
Barbie.
Yeah. We'll talk
about
it.
Nothing really comic book wise.
Well, yeah, not even just comic book wise. It's just not even really just comic book wise. It's just, big. I mean, Indy is big for some people. I just don't give a fuck about seeing 80-year-old Harrison Ford.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a cameo for when he's president in the Marvel universe.
Man, tell the people how they can fucking find you.
You can follow me at Chris_Intersect for as long as Twitter's around. We'll see how long that goes.
Yeah, buddy, because 'tis going downhill slowly.
Well, DMs were down today for some time.
Look, now whenever I do shows or when I'm on a podcast, wherever, and people are like, what do you promote? I'm like, TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah. All my handles are the same on every.
Yeah, I just don't have.
I'm on Blue Sky. I'm trying to get on Blue Sky.
I keep hearing about I'm waiting to see if it gains. Because remember what was the other one? Damn, I downloaded it. What was the? No. It was Hive. Hive.
Yeah, I still have Hive. I never use it.
I have it. I just don't know how to use it. So
I like having a desktop one and a mobile thing.
Yes.
I don't just want the phone thing. I need both things. But
yes. And y'all know where to find me. So with that being said, I'll see y'all on the next one. Don't go nowhere real quick. Take care. I'm out. Bye.